Hello friends. I wanted to make a little video for you since we had to miss out on our time together in person for our self-care for seasonal transitions mini retreat. I was so looking forward to it. So sometimes we just need to make adjustments, and this is one way I can make an adjustment for you and with you, hopefully. This practice is designed for you to do really anytime, and I hope you enjoy it. It'll be, I would say, about a 15 to 20 minute practice, so we won't be doing our long, luxurious hour and a half to 2 hours that we had planned. But I wanted to mention props first before I come down. Most people don't have a yoga bolster, but I wanted to show you what one looks like and that they're fairly firm. And if you compare it to a regular pillow, this is a regular size pillow that would be on a bed. It just happens to have this cover on it. So the regular size pillow is, if you go edge to edge, it is a little bit shorter, but we can make this work. And so I actually had two pillows. I'm sitting on one, and then this one that I'm going to use today instead of the bolster, just because I know that most people don't have a bolster, but if you do, just know that you can use this instead of the pillows. And if you have a yoga blanket, you can have that ready. And I have two just regular towels, and they are folded in half. And then I just folded it in thirds right now, but we might change that. And I just have two here for my pillow for my head. So we'll start our practice on the back and have something under the head, but I would suggest not using one of the pillows, because what can happen is the head kind of presses up, and we want to have a longer neck that's not kind of pressed forward or pressed forward like this. If you come down onto a blanket or even the floor and your chin is turned up, you will want something under the head, right? Because today's practice is all about releasing and letting go. Letting go of all of the news, all of the helpful advice that is out there right now, all of the opinions, and just coming back to your center. So the purpose today, you might even bring a hand to the belly, upper belly and lower belly, and just let your hands rest, is to come back to this center. So we have three brains in the body. We have the head center, where all the thinking happens, and at times like these there might be some overthinking happening. We also have the heart center. I consider this as a brain. This is the center of compassion. And then we have the gut center. This is our center of intuition. And this is where we're going to bring most of our practice today, is to come back to your own intuition, your own belly brain, right? So start with your hands gently resting on your belly. Find your breath here. And with each breath, breathing in and out through the nose mostly, but you can have a couple of exhales through the mouth to release all of this potential holding. So from the inside, think of softening into your hands as you inhale, relaxing the belly down on the exhale, and just having a few breaths here. And as you breathe, imagine this pelvic bowl, the hips, the pelvis here is an actual bowl, and it is resting on top of the ocean. And so as you breathe, let that oceanic breath, the waves of breath, start to open the pelvis, start to move the body slightly. So as you breathe, maybe you'll feel a little swaying of the knees from side to side. Right? You might find circular motion in the belly. Side to side, like the weight is moving to the right hip, up toward the solar plexus, down toward the left hip, and down toward the pubic symphysis. So a lot of people say, oh, this is kind of like a clock face, but even that seems like, let's get out of that brain body, right? Or that brain and come back into the body. And so just feel just this kind of natural movement here. And then eventually you'll just maybe let the feet come out wider on the mat and let those windshield wipers happen. But imagine and actually know, actually we're not even imagining here, we're knowing that the movement comes from the belly. So this big gut wave comes up and brings the weight over to the right hip. As the knees come to the right, the wave slides over to the left, the belly moves, the legs, the knees over to the left. So let yourself feel this gentle rocking from side to side. Continue with this rocking and let the arms float up and find opposite elbows or forearms. And let the elbows move in the opposite direction as the knees. And you can continue here. And then maybe your head begins to follow the elbows at first. That seems natural. But then you're going to actually have the head, the nose follow the knees. Knowing that all this movement in the limbs out from the center of your body is actually starting in the center of your body. In this instinctual center, your elemental body. And then coming back. And from here, let the arms float up toward the ceiling, let the legs float up toward the ceiling, as if your bowl has turned into a rock and it is down at the bottom of the sea with seaweed growing from it. And the seaweed is just swaying in the water. So let yourself just feel that water-like quality, like I said, elemental quality in the body. The legs are floating, floating, and maybe a bigger wave comes along and there's a little shaking. Shaking from side to side, kind of big ripples of waves coming through. And really kind of shake it out. This is so good for the nervous system. You can even get the shake into the torso a bit. You can hear that in my voice, right? Ooh. Shake the hips, shake the shoulders, right? We want to have that you can even play with me here and make a little noise, right? Let it go. And then slowly float legs and arms down. Rest the knees together, the feet apart. Have a few breaths here. And then to come out of this, you can either just move the hips to the side and roll to your side. It's probably the easiest. Some people like to draw the knees to the chest and come up for a moment to a seat. So this is where some of the props might come in handy. So you can have one of your pillows and one of your towels. And to make that firmness that we have of the bolster that we normally would use in yoga, I like to wrap my pillow. Right, and so we really firmly kind of hold on to it, give it a good wrap. And if you have a bolster, you're just relaxing here, right, as we prepare. So here is your makeshift bolster, and it should work very nicely here. Bring it onto your mat. Have the other towel, you can have a blanket, anything you like, even one of your pillows might be helpful here. We're going to come to our side, letting the side ribs rest over your bolster. And I like to have this spacer between my bottom arm and my head. You can have an even thicker spacer if that works for you. And this is a restorative practice. So really softly bring the arm up and over. You can clasp your top wrist with your bottom hand and find a little reach. If you have props in the way like me, you might just push them out of the way with your foot. And then from here, let that stretch become really soft. Let everything go. And let yourself just be here on your side, resting. If this upper arm feels like, oh, that's a big stretch, you can bring it forward. But I would suggest, if you can, just having it over the ear. And so normally in class, I would have you be here for 1 to 2 to 3 minutes. Since it's a video, I might say, go ahead and pause. Know that we're going to be here for that length of time, and then you can come to the other side and do a longer length of time. To come out of this, roll the heart toward the floor, press into the hand, let the head be heavy, and lift up. And then we'll come to the other side. For today's purposes, I'm going to move my prop, but you'll just turn over. So if you were doing this, you can just turn over to this side, right? But since would like to be able to see your faces, I'm turning this way. Right, and we'll come, again, ribs right over the bolster. Space so lovely. Find that little stretch, that opening along the side, and then let everything go. And again, you could even take a little nap here, right? Resting on your side, it just feels so lovely. And in your own time, rolling the heart toward the floor and coming up. Like I said, pausing the video and doing this for longer, or just understanding that this is the practice, is helpful. I'm going to do one more, kind of coming into an introspection, a little quiet here. So as you can see, I've set up the bolster here. I've moved it to the side. Instead of horizontal, it's vertical. And I added a little folded towel. You can have a folded blanket. Possibility of having another towel or blanket for between the thighs. So lots of possibilities here. So I'll just show you the whole thing. So we're going to sit side saddle with the hip toward the short end of the bolster, and you could decide to have a little blanket sandwich between the thighs just kind of gives a little spaciousness here. This is a restorative practice, so we really want to provide lots of comfort, as much comfort as you possibly can. That's the key. And we're going to turn toward this bolster in a bit of a twist. And I would say, and not working very hard, but gently moving from the belly, from this belly brain, letting it move toward the bolster first. The heart follows. And then the brain actually is still turning toward the knees. We're taking a look and coming down. Resting the head here and making adjustments if need be. You know, kind of adjusting all the things to make it super comfortable. And again, just like this with the side bend, I'm not going to be here as long as I normally would be. So I would say, pause the video and give yourself a good 3 to 5 minutes like this. If it feels okay for your body, right? Let yourself rest. And so I'm going to come up now, pressing the hands underneath the shoulders, keeping the head super heavy, the neck is loose, and start to roll up, using the strength of your arms to come up. Removing your blanket sandwich. And if you were doing this at home, if you're doing this at home, you would just turn yourself to the other side. But since I want to face you, I am going to move my setup to the other side of the mat. And yeah, and see about that. So we're side saddle. Again, I'll do it without the blanket this time, between the thighs, just so you can see, so that there's a little spaciousness this way, so they're not stacked. One is behind the other. Moving from the belly and coming down and coming down and turning the head. And let the eyes close. Let the body rest. I'm noticing that my bottom hip is a little bit close to the bolster, so I'm just going to push into my body and lengthen my hip away from the bolster, just to give me a little bit of space here. Relaxing the arms. Pausing the video as you like. And then when you're ready, pressing the hands underneath the shoulders, letting the head be heavy, letting the neck be loose, and coming up. So these are just a few things that you can do. The wonderful thing about what we just did there is you can do that in your bed. You can stack up a couple of pillows in your bed. They don't have to be super firm. And you can do that same thing. It feels lovely. So you don't even have to get out of bed to do this. For our last position, I guess, or our last shape, I'm just going to move everything out of the way and maybe just have something for under my head. I would suggest not a big pillow under the head. And I did have the 2 pillows because some people like it even thicker and you can really wrap with towels, but I want you to have freedom to make it as simple as possible. So we have the shelf here. Normally you can use a wall. You can also put your feet up a chair or a couch, anything like that. But for today's purposes, we're just going to come to the shelf. It should work. It'll hold me up. And come down to the back. Oh, this is going to be great. Yeah. Rest your head on a little blanket and look at that. We've got this perfect perch for my legs. And my legs are at a diagonal. And I'm just going to let the arms rest by the side. This is called Legs Up the Wall. Today it's Legs Up the Bookshelf, right? And again, it could be legs up the chair. So if that was the case, your legs would be bent and you would be resting your calves on a surface, right? So, but somehow getting your legs up over the head, the arms could be out into a T or a V shape, soft. Breathing here. And this pose we hold for 9 or 10 minutes normally. 9 or 10 minutes of rest. If you don't do any other pose, any other movement, find a door, find a chair, and set yourself up in legs up the wall for a good 10 minutes. And this is such a good reset for the body. And this could be how you end your practice. You could decide to just spend the next 10 minutes here and take a nap, right? You could also transition after a good 9 to 10 minutes with the legs up some surface, right? A door, a wall, a bookcase, a sofa, right? You don't need a lot of room for yoga. You'll bend the knees into the body, roll to your side. And if you want to set yourself up for a restorative shavasana, the suggestion would be to find your pillow or pillows. This is where I love the idea of using 2 pillows. I'm going to take all this off so it's just easier and simple. Throw it all over there. Nice stack of pillows, 1 or 2. I've just got long legs, right? And support your knees and let yourself come down to Shavasana. Find your rest here. This is the most important pose in yoga, right here. So the longer you spend here, the more benefit you will get from your practice. So a 2-minute Shavasana is fine, but for restorative practice, at least 5 minutes, I would say a good 10 minutes, 15-minute Shavasana, nice nap time. It's different than lying in the bed because we are doing this with purpose. So as you lie here in Shavasana, I'll just walk you through just a gentle relaxation. Softening the jaw. Soften the skin around the eyes and across the cheeks. Come back to the belly. Come back to the heart. Come back to your instinctual center, your elemental body. This animal body that you can trust right now. Feel it breathing. Feel all the muscles in the body softening and relaxing. As you let yourself restore, one of the best things that you can do for yourself right now And again, you might pause the video and have a nice long Shavasana. When you're ready to come up, bend the knees, place the feet on your prop for just a moment, and then draw the knees to the chest. Gentle rock from side to side. One more time, touching into this center, this watery center of the body. Feeling your connection to earth and water. And then slowly rolling to the side. Let yourself rest on your side. Never be in a hurry to come up in a restorative practice. Keeping the eyes closed. Bringing the top hand right in front of the heart and pressing into the heart, rounding the heart toward the floor, starting to come up. And just find yourself in a brief seat. When we meet next time, we'll have real bolsters, real blankets, all kinds of props and things, and spend a lot more time in each posture. But I wanted you to get an idea of how this might work at home, how you can bring a little bit of yoga into your home practice right now, particularly since many of us might be at home for at least a little while. So thank you so much for your practice. Thank you for being part of this community. Namaste.